I watched a video by Egripted recently covering the tower defense genre on Roblox, and it reminded me of this video that I forgot to make a while ago about one of the best tower defense games on the platform, Pixel Gun Tower Defense. Pixel Gun Tower Defense did so many things right that I want to cover in this video, so let's get into it. This video will be divided into 3 sections: towers and gadgets, gameplay, and enemies, to make the ideas more clear. So let's get into it. I already said that. Let's just go. Let's start with how the towers in this game work. They're not your standard tower defense towers. They are separated into characters and weapons. Characters apply certain abilities, buffs, and debuffs to the current weapon they are using, while the weapons hold the actual stats. Some good examples of characters are the Hitman. The Hitman has incredibly high stats, but the drawback is that every time he targets a new enemy, he has to read a contract before locking onto that enemy, and it has to stay locked onto it until it is dead. He is extremely bad for crowds, but he is the dedicated boss killer of the game. The Pro, all-rounded to suit most weapons and playstyles, generally the same. Camper, not so high stats, but pretty much guaranteed map range and pretty much guaranteed camo detection. Grinder, complete damage quests that refresh every wave to make you money. Lag Switcher, will often lag and stop attacking, but when he stops lagging, he gets a massive fire rate boost and rapid fires at the enemies. You get the point. There's so many unique characters to play around, and these create a nice synergy with the weapons that they get paired with. These weapons come from Pixel Gun 3D, hence the name Pixel Gun Tower Defense, and cover a wide array of types of attacks you can use. Chain attacks, splash attacks, high single target damage, poison, fast fire rate, long range, fire, melee. It feels like an endless amount of weapons, giving you an endless amount of combinations to try with the characters and weapons, and it makes a much more complex strategizing experience rather than grabbing accelerator or something. Sometimes, unexpected combos can randomly show up and really blow everything else out of the water. Or you can place a cliff tower with a sword. There's much more creativity and strategy with this, and it's really fun and refreshing. Upgrades. Characters also have their own personal upgrades you can choose. Hitman allows you to upgrade its range and damage, Exploiter allows you to upgrade its damage, range, and fire rate, Noob allows you to upgrade its fire rate, ammo capacity, and range, and it makes it upgrades feel a lot more creative as well compared to other games, where you unlock to the upgrade doing just one specific thing. Skill level upgrades are also something unique. Towers, when they are placed, start at level 1, but as they farm up damage, their skill level rises, and they passively will upgrade themselves over time to have better stats, even unlocking more advanced targeting methods later on. And speaking of targeting, there is a special targeting UI for this game. On top of having tons of different targeting options, being very advanced, it lays it all out for you in a nice UI so that you don't have to click an arrow 900 times to find the right targeting option, which is a really nice quality of life change. Dialogue based on equipped characters. A sort of honorable mention, you know how there's usually a commander giving you dialogue for lore and tips on the game? Well, in PGTD, that dialogue changes based on what characters you have equipped in your loadout. If you have a pro equipped in your loadout, he will give you good tips on how to beat the mode, because he's a pro. But if you equip a noob, he's gonna be pretty inexperienced and scared of the mode. It's really fun to see how all the different characters react and give you information on the mode, and it would be cool if other games had tower-specific dialogue like this, but I feel like it just really fits with PGTD. Balanced gadgets. Last but not least for this section, it is to mention gadgets in this game. In TDS and TDX, consumables / power-ups cost tons of money to get, but are pretty much just free. Deal with this wave buttons. In PGTD, gadgets are handled differently. Gadgets are one-time purchases for you to be able to use that item permanently in-game on a cooldown, like the energy wall, landmines, or nuclear grenade. Because of this, they are much weaker, usually just being used to catch leaks, but some are really important to gameplay besides just catching leaks. There's the jukebox, pretty much your farm tower of this game, except it's a gadget, and also the medkit and resurrection, which will remove stuns from your towers. The way PGTD handles gadgets makes them more of a strategic part of the game rather than flashy win buttons. The gadgets will always be there for you, no cost needed other than the one-time purchase, and will forever be part of your arsenal, which I feel is much better handled than TDX power-ups and TDS consumables. But enough with the towers and gadgets, let's move on to the gameplay aspects. Base HP is handled differently, and in my opinion, the best way it is handled in PGTD. Let's say you started with 100 out of 100 HP, but then lost some HP and got knocked to 70 out of 100. You are now at 70% HP. In PGTD, your HP goes up over time to be able to tank leaks for you no matter the wave. Even on the final wave, it can help you tank some usually deadly leaks. But the catch is, it will always stay at the percent of HP you had. So your HP will still go up, but by the final wave, it's only at 70% of its max potential just because you lost 30 HP at the beginning. It makes base HP actually useful and interesting, letting you tank leaks, but still leaving impact no matter the stage of the game, as it scales with the stage of the game. PGTD also has some interesting map gimmicks scattered around them. There is a mining map where you can mine ores to get some extra money to upgrade your towers, and also a map with teleporters where you can click this to teleport your tower to another area of the map to catch leaks or just relocate it. It's a small thing, but it's a nice little gimmick to make maps a lot more interesting. Because if I'm being honest, I never find myself having a reason to play other maps in other TD games like TDS or TDX if they just aren't fun. Sure, they can be more challenging or give medal rewards, but that's just a grind or challenge. Map gimmicks help make it actually fun, and multipath isn't the only way to do this. Please take notes, other games. TDX does this pretty nicely with enemies being able to run over your towers like in the events, and I like that, but even more map gimmicks would be so cool, and TDX does try to help with line of sight, but that's with every map. It's like, just really unique map gimmicks would be so cool. And as an honorable mention for the gameplay section, there are also modifiers. You can add modifiers to make the game easier or harder, changing the awards accordingly, and also in the modifier section is a free sandbox mode where you can test what you need, which is really nice. But let's move on to the final segment of this video, the enemies. In PGTD, there are levels to stun and stealth. More basic enemies or mini-bosses will usually only stun your towers with these stars above their head that only require a 15-second cooldown medkit to clear. But final bosses and stronger mini-bosses have stronger stuns that last much longer and require a resurrection gadget with a longer cooldown of 30 seconds if you want to clear it faster. This adds some weight to certain attacks, like the Conqueror's Nuke, which if it hits your towers will directly mega stun them, but only stuns farther away towers. Stealth levels are also an important factor to PGTD gameplay. Weaker stealth enemies only require level 1 stealth detection, which most towers have, but stronger ones like bosses will require level 2 or even level 3 stealth detection, and that's when you need more specialized stealth characters like Camper to take them out. It adds so much more depth than just hidden or not hidden, and it's something I definitely can see being added to other games. It's something I want added to other games. As an example, TDX could definitely implement levels of flying. There would be level 1 flying enemies, which most towers that just have range could detect, but also higher level 3 flying enemies, which need much more specialized air counter like helicopters, combat drone, anti-air turrets, or sniper. This could give use to sniper, making it a high level flying counter for beginners, and also help balance AA turret in a way. They could make AA turret only hit level 3 flying enemies, but not level 2 or level 1. You would still need other flying counters than just AA turret, but if there does exist level 3 flying, then you can place your AA turret and absolutely pulverize them. Level 1 would be basic, level 2 would be pretty much how widespread flying detection is right now, and level 3 would be specialized. I think this would add a lot more depth to the flying system, and is something from PGTD that could really change up TDX gameplay. But last for this video are the unique enemies in the game. Before I cover these, please like and subscribe, because this video has been in the works for a while now, and it would be extremely appreciated. Anyways, PGTD has two really unique enemies that come to my mind. Those are the Unstable Matter and Titanic Crystal. The Unstable Matter is a mid-game rusher with a 99% defense shield. No tower can pierce the shield unless they have at least 100 or more damage, where they can now deal at least 1 damage to the shield, which will pop it and allow you to deal the damage needed to kill it. It forces you in the mid-game to have some single target DPS, because in the early to mid-game you usually are spamming fast fire rate or splash damage weapons, and it just adds another layer of strategy to the game. This is also the case with the Titanic Crystal. The Titanic Crystal is a late game enemy that has an absurd amount of HP. It has more than some of the bosses and mini bosses in this game, and it is a normal enemy. But here's the catch. Every hit dealt to it does an extra 20 damage. This makes fast fire rate towers perform amazing against it, while the heavy hitters, not as much. This really switches up your gameplay in the late game, forcing you to have fast fire rate towers where you usually would just want heavy hitters in the late game, as it spams these Titanic Crystals even in the final wave, keeping pressure on you. It is also a direct counter to the Hitman Tower. If you remember earlier, I mentioned the Hitman Tower, which reads a contract and doesn't stop firing on an enemy until it's dead. If it locks onto this Titanic Crystal with its heavy hitting weapon, it will be shooting at it for ages. This forces you to set the Hitman off of high HP targeting, the targeting you usually want it on. It provides so much more depth to using even the boss killer tower, and it's just so cool. He even has his own dialogue for this wave, where he tells you to not let him lock onto it or things will not end well. Meanwhile, his counterpart, the Exploiter, a character who has extremely fast fire rate and excels against the Titanic Crystal, says it will be easy. PGTD just has so many good ideas in it, and I hope that some other tower defense games can add into their development these creative and strategic features of the game, especially that flying levels one. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, because this took a long time to make compared to some of my other content, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, have a good